There's a very important difference between two types of environments, and that affects how you may want to do business in Canada. We're going to talk today about do-it-yourself versus pay-to-get-done countries. So how do you know that you understand how to do business in Canada? There's a link here in the description. We help businesses of different sizes at different stages in this journey to success in Canada. Let's take a simple example. What do you do in your country of origin when you buy a new furniture? Let's say you buy a big wardrobe. Or let's say, what do you do when an appliance breaks, your fridge breaks, or your dishwasher breaks? This is where we get to the differences between do-it-yourself and pay-to-get-done, right? In many places, what do? You call a guy. Somebody will come and get that fixed for you. In Canada, which is considered like a do-it-yourself place, the first thing you do, if you're buying a big piece of furniture, a lot of people in Canada are very familiar with the concept that you bring that big box to your house, you open the box, and you're gonna put that furniture together yourself, usually on a Saturday, right? People don't like it, whatever, but that's what you do because it's so much cheaper. It makes more sense to do that than pay somebody that's gonna come. Remember, we are in a place where the price of labor is expensive compared to many countries in the world. So that means to pay somebody to come and install and put together my wardrobe or to deliver that for me, it's gonna cost me a lot of money. So if I'm kind of a middle class, a professional, what probably I'm gonna do is I'm gonna buy something that comes in a flat package and I'm gonna put the furniture together myself. Same thing for an appliance, right? If my dishwasher breaks, if I'm back in my country of origin, all I do is I call a guy and somebody's gonna show up and fix that for me. That's great, the cost is reasonable, I don't worry about it. I'll go about doing other stuff that I have to do. In Canada, if my dishwasher breaks, if I call somebody to come here, it's gonna cost me a lot of money. So what I typically do, me and everybody else in Canada, what we do is like you go on YouTube or whatever, the website of the manufacturer, and you figure out, you go through the troubleshooting yourself, and you may go order parts, or you may go to a place and buy the parts yourself, and you're gonna be dealing with that yourself. I mean, some things are more complicated, require more professionalized and well-trained and licensed labor. It's not everything that you do yourself, right? I'm not gonna do any electrical work or plumbing work, but what I'm saying is the first thought in the mind of a Canadian when something breaks in their house is like, let me see if I can fix it, right? As opposed to where I come from, my country of origin, the first thing in the mind of somebody that owns a house and something breaks, it's like, okay, let me call a guy, right? So which kind of country are you from? And there's a very simple reason for that. I want to make it very clear that I know both worlds very well, so it's not a matter of a right or wrong, but there is a need to understand the differences so you can operate accordingly and successfully in Canada. This way of thinking is gonna have massive, massive implications for the approach in doing business. And let me give you here just 3 examples, right? Number 1, let's take, for example, schedules and meetings, right? Typically, where I come from, you will book a meeting and you may or may not have the exact time, but you book for after lunch, after a given day or something like that. Here, you're gonna be given a very fixed time slot with very limited time, right? And you better be here on time and you better be prepared for the meeting to end at the allotted time. It's funny how you have big differences in the ways to build rapport, to build good relationship with people, how you build trust. For example, in my country of origin, it's about being warm with people. So if you kind of look at the watch and say, sorry, we only had 30 minutes and the meeting is gone and we need to connect, send me an email. If you do that in my country of origin, it's considered extremely rude. It's cold. It's like, come on, you don't do that, right? I mean, the guy was in the middle of what his rationale is. Well, guess what? In Canada, what's considered rude is to let the next person waiting, because if we had 30 minutes allotted for our conversation, that means I have to be doing something else after our meeting. So I'm not gonna be rude to let that other people waiting. So you see, it's just a cultural matter. There's no right or wrong, but you need to know in what kind of environment you're operating. Is it polite, for example, to spend more time with somebody to build a relationship? Or is it more polite to stick to a schedule, respecting their time and other people's time, right? Is it polite to let somebody wait for weeks for a meeting, which is what happens here in Canada? If somebody tries to book a meeting with me, or I try to book a meeting with somebody, it's going to be for 3 weeks from now because our calendars are full until then. Is it polite to say, wow, the guy is not interested. He told me only can talk to me in 3 weeks. What's that about? How come I cannot give him a quick call and just talk about it now? I'll send him a WhatsApp, right? Country where I grew up, where I came from, it's not polite to keep somebody waiting for weeks. But in Canada, what's not polite is to be interrupting your routine all the time. Consider polite to actually meet the commitments you made. If I'm working on an email, I have to send that now. I'm not going to stop writing my email to answer my phone because somebody's calling me now. That my phone is on do not disturb at all times. Nobody ever is going to talk to me when they call me directly. It's going to go to voicemail. Then I can't call. And like in my country of origin, that's considered rude. It's like, come on, the guy doesn't answer the phone. In Canada, it's like, come on, I'm busy at a meeting. I don't want to be interrupted. I've never seen in 24 years in Canada ever somebody stop a meeting to take a phone call in the middle of the meeting. Well, that's not true. There's one very weird, interesting exception, which is, let's say I'm the contact, the emergency contact for the school, and my child fell down the playground and bumped their head, and I'm waiting for somebody from the school to tell me that everything is okay. And then I have a meeting starting. I go to the meeting with my phone, my cell phone, not on do not disturb. I'm expecting the call from the school, and I tell the person, say, listen, let me apologize. My phone may ring here, but there is this emergency situation. That's kind of the only type of situation that in Canada, it's acceptable that your phone rings in the middle of the meeting. Anything different from that kind of level of emergency, personal situation, is going to be considered rude. It's like, are you here with me? Do I have your attention? Or you have something more important to do while I'm making time to talk to you? So why are you taking a phone call from somebody else in the time that you are supposed to be here talking to me? So I have to be careful with that, because in the other hand, in Brazil, my country of origin, many other emerging countries, if my client calls me and I don't pick up right away, that's considered rude. It's like, well, come on, I'm the client and I need to talk to you. I'm calling you because I need to talk to you. So you see, there's not a right or a wrong. It's just a matter, is it a good fit for the culture where you're operating or not? You have to understand that. Second example, let's talk about guides and how-to materials. Let's say, do even these materials exist? Remember, in a country where there's a lot of confusing rules, where maybe the rules change all the time, people didn't even take the time to write down how things are gonna work. Maybe there's stuff in a website that's even obsolete because things changed. So people don't even take the time to write a lot of how-to material, how things work. And guess what? People are not used to reading them either, because it's like, well, if I want to know how things really work, I need to talk to somebody. Come here and explain to me. In Canada, people are just gonna send you a PDF file or a link to our website. Say, hey, here is everything you need to know. Go read it. Do materials even exist where you're coming from? Many places they don't. Let's say they exist. Then the next question is, who reads these materials and who provides a summary to you? Like, are you, as a business owner, the person who is clicking on the link, reading the PDF, digesting the information, interpreting what it means, or you don't even do that because the materials don't exist, or if the materials exist, they're so confusing, there's so many that you need an intermediary to do all that digestion for you and present to you a summary. Remember, do it yourself or pay somebody to do it. These are very different ways. And then there's one concept we talk about here a lot, which is the concept of a one-pager. Like, what do you mean a one-pager? I have this institutional PowerPoint presentation about my business. It has 18 pages. Or we have our website where I have the description of everything we do and the list of our clients and testimonials and talk about our technology. Nobody will, at the first contact, spend that type of time. People are not gonna sit through an 18-page presentation if they don't know exactly why they're allocating that time. They're not going to spend time navigating a website to then figure out why what you do may or may not be good for them. You to prepare a summary. That's when the concept of the one pager comes. Like, do people have time and willingness to learn about me? In a country like Canada, where everything is very busy, people come from a place where the societies are very flat, you don't have help at home, you have to take out the garbage yourself, you have to mow the lawn and clean up the snow yourself, you don't call a guy, right? So the time is very limited. So if I'm gonna allocate 30 minutes to talk to somebody, I want to know exactly why that's a good idea. So people need to send me some summary first, and I need to read, oh, okay, that makes it, okay, let's talk then. Right? And that's the concept of the one pager. Do people have time and willingness to learn about it, or do I need to make their lives easier by already providing them a summary of what I want to do? Okay, so I hope it became clear here, right? So how do you prepare? How do you prepare for all this? We have here our program, Your Business in Canada. Click on the link and we can have a chat about how we can help. Okay, thank you and good luck.